Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea, welcome back to your Chelsea news. Enzo Maresca speaks more on Liam Delap and the red card. He also gives us a huge injury update regarding Moises Caicedo, João Pedro, Enzo Fernandez and Cole Palmer. Not only that, but he also speaks about the left wing position, and Chelsea are really pushing to sign Kenan Yildiz. And of course, we'll be predicting Chelsea's starting 11 to face Spurs tomorrow night in the Premier League. Now, of course, I'll be giving my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 15k by the end of the season. You can also use the new YouTube hype feature, which pushes this video out to a bigger audience. Kicking things off, Bobby Vincent has reported what Enzo Maresca said on speaking to Liam Delap over the red card. He said, "I don't need to speak with Liam. I spoke with him, but he knows everything. He is aware of the situation. He knows that he made the mistake, full stop, no more than that." Bobby Vincent then asked Maresca on whether Liam Delap is a long way from the player that he wants him to be, and he says, "I'm not from England, so sometimes when I try to translate from Italian to English, it's a bit different. When Liam is on the pitch, he is more focused to try and win his battle with a defender. That's what I was trying to say. There are 3 players in this team that I know better than the rest. Lavia, Palmer and Delap, because I knew them from City under-21s. I know Liam will be a fantastic player for us, but there are some things he can improve." Enzo Maresca then confirmed that Liam Delap said sorry to everyone in the changing room after his red card on Wednesday night. He then went on to speak about the discipline problem. He said, "I think there's some red cards we concede, we can avoid that. And when it comes to changing the discipline," Maresca said, "it's also something we need to learn and we need to do better. For sure, no doubt, we will do better than that in the future." I think, as I said many times, I like to learn and evolve. In this moment, we are trying to do everything to try and avoid this kind of situation. Hopefully we can learn and be better in the future. Now, there's a lot to unpack here because Chelsea's discipline record with the red cards is something like, I can't even think off the top of my head, in the last 9 games, we've got like 6 red cards or something like that, and it's got progressively worse. We reacted to it in yesterday's video, so feel free to check it out. And also with Liam Delap specifically, because it's obviously the red hot topic. He got sent off after returning after his 2-month injury and then gets sent off within 7 minutes with 2 yellow cards. It's a joke of a situation, really. And obviously, Liam Delap said sorry to everyone in the changing rooms. I hope that he did. I hope that he did, because I tell you what, he needs to apologise for the fans, in my opinion, for just how outrageous and stupid that situation was. And maybe that you may think that's me taking over the top a little bit, but genuinely, I'm still annoyed about that situation. We massively needed Delap for the Spurs game, and now he can't play over some stupid decisions. Now, I like what Enzo Maresca is saying in terms of, I like to learn, we've got to revolve, we've got to adapt, and we're going to try to not have those situations happen again. But at the same time, it's just frustrating because he said the same thing for the last few press conferences when it comes to Chelsea and their red cards. And I hear what he's saying. There's not really much else he can do. You can't force a player to not make a certain challenge. You can't force a player to think in a certain way because humans have free will and they can just go do what they like to do. Obviously, they've got to follow the game plan and heat of the moment sometimes with football. It's a very emotional sport. Liam Delap obviously had a lapse of judgment in 2 occasions in a very short period of time, and he knows he made a mistake and apologised for it. Now, I'm hoping that he learns from this. I like what Enzo said in terms of like where Liam Delap is, and do you think he's going? Is he a long way off of being the player you want him to be? I think he answered that perfectly. I have no doubt that Liam Delap is actually going to be a very good signing for Chelsea in the long term. I feel like this season we're going to really see the evolution of Liam Delap. We know how well he played in the Premier League last year with Ipswich. A lot of people still question it because obviously Ipswich were a relegation side, but Liam Delap was their top goal scorer with 12 goals. I know a few of them are penalties, but that's why he was on the radar of Chelsea. He also worked with Maresca in the under-21s of Man City alongside Lavia, alongside Palmer, and we know how good those 2 players are. So I have full confidence that Liam Delap is going to kick on and be a really good player for Chelsea. It's just in this moment, we're looking at it and going, what is going on? Because we absolutely criticised, and rightly so, Nicholas Jackson for these silly lapse of judgments and the discipline issues at the end of last season. And look how that played out for him with the fans and with the club. Obviously, it's a mismatch of things, but it kind of tarnished our reputation, or not reputation, but our thoughts and opinions on him a little bit. Because we were like, well, he just loses his head and makes silly challenges. He hasn't got the footballing IQ that we need him to have. And I'm hoping that Liam Delap doesn't go down that same route, and I don't think he will. I like the fact that he's aggressive. I like the fact that he throws himself about. He's just got to think and be more careful with it. When you're 3-0 up in a game, don't be making stupid challenges because there's just no need to be doing it. Don't be starting fights when you're 3-0 up. It's as simple as that, really. If you're going to ruffle the feathers and try and gear up the opposition, just do it in a smarter way. And I know it's easier said than done as an armchair fan, but it just frustrates me still. But I like the fact that Maresca was like, he's going to go and be a fantastic player. I know him better than anyone in the squad, like the other 2 from City, the under-21s. I have full faith in him, and I'm glad that he said that. The one thing I question a little bit, and obviously this is just me reading between the lines a little, is Maresca was like, oh, my translation isn't as good. You know, it sounded like I threw him under the bus, but didn't really want to. I don't like that. Stand on business. You meant what you said. You knew what you were saying. You said he was stupid. You said it was a stupid challenge. He's an idiot, basically. You went out there with emotions and off the back of the game and just let everyone know what you were thinking. Stand on it. I know that you obviously don't want to just rip into him and just not backtrack at all, because that would be very harsh. He's obviously going to address it and be ask questions about it in this press conference. It was a few days ago, and I'm glad that Delap has taken accountability and said sorry, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. But like I said, I feel like he now owes the fans something to come back with a bang and put his head down and go score some goals, man, or go grab some assists and just stay fit and see what you can do in this Chelsea side. But that's just my thoughts and opinions on the whole discipline issue. I don't really know how Chelsea can change the discipline, because like I said, humans have free will and it's all down to the individual player. If they're going to make a silly decision, Enzo can't really do anything about that other than not play them. Not play them, maybe fine them. I don't know, but I don't really understand. There's no like set thing that you can do to stop the discipline issues, but we do have to try and calm it down, because so many red cards in such a short space of time is very, very alarming. It's very alarming and it needs to stop. Like, it's beyond a joke now. I have people like you guys in the watch along saying, oh, red card FC, what's the bingo card on who's getting the next red card and stuff like that. I get it. It's a laugh and it's a joke. But when you really deep it, it's like, man, we got to stop with these reds, because it's going to absolutely bite us around Christmas time if it continues to go the way that it's going. So hopefully we don't get a red card against Spurs. We finish the game with 11 men. We've shown that when we do finish the game with 11 men, we're actually pretty good. So hopefully we don't get another sending off. But I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding what Enzo Maresca said. On a little bit of a backtrack when it comes to the Liam Delap comments, what you feel about Liam Delap being a Chelsea player. Is he miles off where you want him to be? Do you feel like he'll ever get there? Do you feel like he won't get there at all? I'm very curious to know your thoughts. Enzo Maresca then talks about defending long throws, and he says, for sure, we're working on it, for sure. He then goes on to talk about conceding from set pieces, and he says, I think the set pieces you are going to score goals and concede goals. The reason why is because when you concede, you are not strong enough. It is an action that is so difficult to defend. Now, something that's very interesting this season is Chelsea are second at scoring from set pieces, miles behind Arsenal, who are clear. They've got that set piece FC or whatever you want to call them, and fair play to them. They are dominating in that sense, in that style of football, right? But Chelsea is second in scoring from set pieces. I don't know where we are in terms of conceding, but we're definitely up there. These long throws, we've got to learn how to defend them. I need more than, we're working on it. You tell us exactly what you're doing, man, because I don't know, obviously realistically you wouldn't, because then everyone else will know his tactics, but we need to really nip it in the bud when it comes to defending long throws, because like I said, Dave down the road on Sunday morning who's hungover can yeet a ball into the box, and you can have 11 men in the box with the keeper, including the keeper, and it's just ping-ponging around, and all of a sudden, we concede. And when you have the likes of 6'6" Tosin, when you have the likes of other defenders that are meant to be good in the air, not winning their battles to 5'9" attackers, there are questions to be asked. When there are free flick-ons happening consecutively in your own box from a long throw-in, questions need to be asked. When there is a spare man at the back stick and we have no answer to trying to get anyone to recover, or even just having someone on that man, there is questions to be asked. So I understand that set pieces can be difficult to defend. I understand that there's a lot of bodies in a box with a long throw. I'm not stupid. There is a lot of bodies in a box. I understand that. But there has to be a way that you can set up to clear it, because not everyone is conceding from long throws. Most people are, yes, but not consistently like we are. It's almost like when we concede a long throw, you think, well, we're going to concede a goal now. That's how poor we've been at conceding them. I think, I've seen a couple where they get cleared straight away, but it's mainly because it's a poor throw-in, not because it's been us winning the aerial duel, off the back of the attacker, etc. So I'm glad that we're working on it, because, mate, we've needed to work on that for weeks. It's a new trend that's back in, and I like it. I'm all for it. Lump the ball forward, see what happens. When you're attacking it, great. When you're defending it, we need an answer. So I'm hoping that we do have an answer, and I'm hoping that Spurs don't try them long throws throughout the entire game. I don't feel like Thomas Frank will want to use that system, but you never know. Obviously, he does like to be very compact, move as a unit, probably is going to lean into the fact that so many teams are going to be leaning into the fact that, hang on a minute, this works. So we're going to start doing that. We're going to start training this. And I'm hoping that we do as well. Hopefully we can use it on the attack, because if we're conceding from it, but also scoring from it, kind of nullifies it a little bit. It adds another dimension to our game. But again, it's aerial threat. Defensively and attacking-wise, our aerial threat is minimal compared to other teams in the Premier League. So I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions down below. How would you stop conceding long throws. And it's easy to say don't kick the ball out for a throw-in, but how would you set up? How do you feel like the easiest way to defend a long throw-in is? Because at the moment, Chelsea look like they have zero answers. It's not even like they're attempting to clear any long throws or defend any long throws. Especially that last one against Wolves. Honestly, it's living in my head rent-free. 3 flick-ons in our own box. 3 flick-ons consecutively. We had no answer, and we can see from it ultimately. So I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Kieran Gill has reported that Enzo Maresca confirms that Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez and João Pedro are fit for tomorrow's Tottenham trip. He goes on to say they are available. The reason why João Pedro did not play against Wolves was to protect him. And Bobby Vincent has reported what Enzo Maresca said on Cole Palmer's latest injury update. He said, "I just met him in the canteen for breakfast and said to him, in 1 week you'll be back." And he was laughing. We are still waiting. Now this is a huge injury update because Caicedo, Fernandez and João Pedro are all playing with injury, which is concerning, which is worrying, because they are very important players for our system, for our team. They just are. I like the way that João Pedro plays when he's fully fit. He's an animal. Enzo Fernandez, one of my favourite players. I love him. I think he's fantastic. Yes, he can be a bit hit and miss, but overall, across this entire year, he's been fantastic. Unbelievable. And Moises Caicedo is a machine. We know that. Caicedo's unreal. Best in the world in his position. Just is. No questions asked, no debate. So the fact that they're all ready for the Tottenham game is a huge, huge boost. And I felt like they would because they were obviously rested against Wolves. Caicedo got some minutes and came on as well to kind of shore that game up, which is wild to say out loud, by the way, because they are bottom of the league. Bottom of the league, and we needed Caicedo. Anyway, it's massive. When it comes to Cole Palmer, I've had a lot of you guys asking me in the comments, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's here on YouTube, whether it's on the live watch-alongs, saying, "Oh, Jay, is Cole Palmer back soon?" Because all the apps are saying that he's back in training. And I'm like, no, that can't be it. No, he's still got like 4.5, 5 weeks of recovery time off the last injury update from Enzo Maresca saying it was an additional 6 weeks out. It's been like, just over a week of that. So he's still got a long time to be fully fit. I highly doubt that he's training with the squad. He might be doing some solo training for fitness, maybe with the ball. I'm not entirely sure. Groin injuries are so difficult to recover from because of how much the groin and that part of the leg is used for so many different things that you wouldn't even think about. And I always say this to my wife, who is a nurse, and she always says, whenever you injure a certain part of your body, you don't realize how much you use it in everyday life until it's injured. And then you go, oh, wow, I can't do X because of this, and I can't do Y because of this. It's wild, and the groin is one of them. It is used for so many things. So I feel like he's still got 4.5, 5 weeks left of that 6 week extra. I don't feel like he is on the pitch and training. I feel like he's probably doing fitness still. So it's not like a huge update in terms of he's back tomorrow. I wouldn't expect him to recover that quickly from a groin injury because, again, it's a very sensitive injury to have. But Enzo Maresca is basically saying, we're still waiting. I'm having a bit of a laugh with him. Please come back next week because we massively need you, because we hugely miss Cole Palmer. And I think that's very obvious. We've done well without him in certain games, but in certain games we've really, really needed him. And when it comes to Caicedo being fit and ready, I kind of feel like that guy just plays anyway. He's just made of elastic. He just continues to play, and that's such a good player to have in the middle of the midfield. Enzo will be interesting to see how he performs against Spurs. He usually plays well against Spurs. We usually always get that result against Spurs, which would be nice. Big bounce back from the very poor performance in the second half of Wolves, even though ultimately we got the win and we go into the quarterfinals, which is a good thing. And João Pedro is an interesting one because he's playing with injury, and we now don't have Delap either. So it's either João Pedro at the 9 or João Pedro at the 10, Guiu at the 9. Now, I'm quite happy with either because I feel like if João Pedro plays in the 9, then we have other questions to ask, like who plays in that 10? Is it Buonanotte? Is it Esteval? Who knows? I'd like to see Esteval in the 10, João Pedro in the 9. I think it'd be very, very interesting to see. But I have a funny feeling it may be João Pedro in the 10, which I feel like is his best position. As we know that, he's not an out-and-out 9. And then Mark Guiu as the 9. And that would be very interesting to see what happens. I mean, at this point, Guiu's ready. He's sharp. Enzo's confirmed that, he's ready to be playing. Give him the game time. Just see what he can do. And, we can always change things as the game goes on. But this is huge for me. I think, and for a lot of Chelsea fans, I feel like these 3 players being back is massive for the Spurs game because it's a big game. We don't want to lose to Spurs. We were going away to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and we need to pick up 3 points. So let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in terms of Cole Palmer's injury. How long do you think he's going to be out? Do you think he'll be back quicker than the 5 weeks he's got left on that extended 6 weeks like Liam Delap was? Is he superhuman in that sense? Or do you feel like he could potentially be out longer? or will he be on time? And what are your thoughts on having the other 3 players available for the Spurs game? Is that a massive boost? Or, I mean, Caicedo is, we know that. But what about Fernandes and João Pedro? Enzo Maresca then spoke on the left wingers, and he said they are both, Garnacho and Gittens, adapting to the way that we work every day. They are both doing very well. This is what we want from our wingers, scoring goals and assists. It's good that they are both doing very well so we can choose one or the other. And Chelsea recently released an interview with Jamie Gittens, and he said, I love playing with everyone here. They're so talented and they understand the game. They are so intelligent and they know what to do. Playing with them is like an honour. Now, I really like our left wing situation at the moment. Now, there's always question marks. Is Gittens and Garnacho the players on that left-hand side to really elevate us? A lot of people would say no, and I hear it. We want someone bigger and better, better name, more talent to really score goals, be more penetrative and just be more consistent, right? I feel like we can agree on that. However, knowing how Chelsea work and having the likes of Garnacho, who's still young, can improve, but has Premier experience, and Gittens, who we've bought purely off of vibes and potential, I'm actually really happy with how they're performing as well in the last few games. Garnacho looks sharper and sharper. I think it was the Ajax game he was a bit off it. But other than that, I've been fairly impressed with him, getting his goal recently. And Gittens, after that Wolves performance, it looks like this guy's landed. He's here. And if he can keep that level of consistency, he's going to be very, very dangerous. And I understand why we spent so much money on him, because he was beating his man, he was linking up play well, and he also got an assist and a few games ago on Caicedo's goal in the Champions League as well, where he was also having a very good game because he's been getting better and better. It's taken him a little bit of time to find his feet. But I feel like when he is confident, he's very clearly a confidence player, because the last couple of games he played, he's had high confidence and he's played unbelievably well. He'll be riding that confidence so high. For me, he has to start against Spurs based off of the game against Wolves, because like I just said, he's a confidence player. And what better confidence to be scoring an absolute worldie and grabbing 2 assists in that cup game. 2 days later, you go play against Spurs at their ground, absolutely tear him apart, because he can beat his man one-on-one. We know that's why we bought him. His dribbling's fantastic. His decision-making looks to be a lot better than what we originally thought at the start of the season. And like I said, he's a confidence player. So I really like that he's enjoying himself. And I like what he says there about everyone being so talented and they understand the game and they're so intelligent. That's just insight from a youngster of being like, wow, okay, cool. I'm at a big club here where everyone's so good on the ball, intelligent, they know what to do, and I'm here to learn from them and get better. And if he's taking that in and being a sponge and also performing on the pitch, then I can understand why he has all this potential. I feel like he will come good as a Chelsea winger, and we're starting to see glimpses of that already. It's just about consistency, and I feel like it's the same word that we're using for a lot of players in the Chelsea team now. Consistency. If they're consistent, they'll be world beaters. Now, when it comes to having Gittens and Garnacho both firing on all cylinders, that is a good headache for Enzo Maresca to have, because he then has to pick between 2 wingers that are playing well. It's when they're both not playing well, that's the issue. And I feel like we had that scenario when you had Sterling not playing well and Mudryk not playing well. Mudryk is very clearly a confidence player. And when he started getting a run of confidence, he was then bad. So, And Sterling, look, hit and miss. I just think in a Chelsea shirt, he was very inconsistent, in my opinion. So that's the issue we're going to have when they're both not playing well. Is who are these out of these 2 players? Who's going to pick themselves up and build that confidence again? Maybe it's Garnacho with the Premier League experience. Maybe it's Gittens because he just wants that starting spot over Garnacho. Who knows? Only time will tell. But I'm really happy with both the wingers at the moment performing to the level that they're at, because they're only going to get better, and we're starting to see that they're bedding in, settling in, confident, and now they're ready to go attack their fullback. So I'm going to say that Jamie Gittens starts. We're going to go do a predicted 11 in just a minute anyway. But I want to see Gittens start on that left-hand side, especially after that Wolves performance. But I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding the left-wing situation. Are you happy with Gittens and Garnacho? Do you feel like they are confidence players, or are you just not giving them a chance and you want Chelsea to go and get someone else? Team Talk have reported that sources have confirmed that Chelsea have been working non-stop on 20-year-old Juventus forward Kenan Yildiz, deploying scouts to Juventus fixtures, holding discreet discussions with the players' camp, and tabling what is described as a very exciting proposal. Now, this news that we can react to is very exciting in my opinion, because this player is unbelievable. And some people in the comments are saying, I don't really rate him, I think he's overhyped or whatever. Honestly, just watch the dude. I've been watching more and more Juventus games because of Yildiz. Because of Yildiz, I've been watching more games of Juventus. This guy is unreal. He's 20 years old and he's unbelievable. The skill level that he is showcasing on a consistent basis for Juve. Last few games, well, the last 8, they've had a poor run of games. They've sacked their manager and they've just replaced him, right? So fair enough. But you look at last season, what he achieved, and the start of this season before they went on that poor run. He was the main man in terms of causing havoc, creating goals and scoring worldies as well. I would really like Chelsea to go get Kenan Yildiz because I think that does shore up that left-hand side, which is quite ironic because we just spoke about the left wing position. I said I'm happy with both the wingers as of right now. A lot of Chelsea fans want us to go out and buy another left winger that is an upgrade on what we currently have because we're not really happy with Garnacho and Gittens being like the main 2 go-tos on that left-hand side. I think Yildiz is a person that people go, yes, what a player. I feel like, any of the other wingers we've been linked with recently are the players that Chelsea want to go get. And this isn't me glazing Yildiz. This isn't me throwing my toys out the pram and wanting a new toy to play with that everyone seems to think. I'm just simply a fan of Yildiz, and I think he's a fantastic young player who is doing it at the highest level. He's doing it for Juventus. He's doing it in the Champions League consistently. His name is on the map. There's a stall in contract extensions between the player and Juventus. Chelsea are very interested, and now we're hearing things like this, that they're having scouts going out to more fixtures. They're holding talks with the players' camp. Chelsea really want this player. They really want Yildiz, and I would be all for it. It'd be very interesting to know what type of fee that would cost. It'd be very interesting to know what type of money he would want, because I don't know what he's on at Juve, but I can't imagine it's peanuts. I can imagine it's a fairly decent wage. Obviously, he is only 20 years old. It's not to put the world on his shoulders. I'm not saying he's going to win the Ballon d'Or this year. I'm just saying he's a young and exciting player who is very composed in the situations that we need a winger to be composed in, and he's deadly and clinical in front of goal. I'm not saying he scores every time he shoots, but the goals that he can score and the situations he gets into to then score goals is just something we don't have on that left-hand side. Is he the answer to all the problems? Who knows? Only time will tell if Chelsea do eventually get this over the line and we sign him. I don't really know. Because then you also got to ask the other question that in the summer, we're going to have more players coming in that we've already signed, like Coenda, etc. And then what do we do with Garnacho and Gittens? Is it a case that we loan one out to then one in, one out system? We loan one out to then bring in Yildiz? We have the UEFA restrictions hanging over our head for the next couple of years, so we've got to have to balance books in certain ways as well. So I don't think it's very straightforward as straightforward as just going to buy Yildiz and go, right, problem solved. I think there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle to make him fit, not on the pitch, but the situations outside of that in terms of the financial stuff and player management, etc. I don't feel like we're going to loan out Gittens or get rid of Garnacho after a season. But who knows? This is Chelsea Football Club. You just never know what's going to happen every day. But for me personally, I would love Chelsea to sign Kenan Yildiz. I think he's a fantastic young player. I think he's doing it at the highest level. And Juventus can't lock him down on a contract extension. Chelsea are very much looking to capitalise on that. There are other clubs around Europe, like your Arsenals, your Cities and everyone else, that are also very interested in Yildiz, which is also a good sign to showcase that a lot of clubs want this talented player. Like I said, is he the answer? Who knows? But I think he'll be young, he's exciting, and he's doing it at the highest level. I don't want to keep saying that because I feel like I'm repeating myself. But you understand my enthusiasm when it comes to Kenan Yildiz. And like I said, this isn't a glazed session. He's just better than what we got on that left-hand side. So I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Kenan Yildiz. Would you have him at Chelsea? Do you think he is the answer on that left-hand side? Do you think that Chelsea are doing all the right legwork in terms of scouting the games, discreet discussions with the camps? I'm interested to know what tabling what is described a very exciting proposal is. So I'd like to know your thoughts. What do you think that very exciting proposal is? How much do you think he's going to cost us? And how much wages do you think he will? Will he change that left-hand side for us? So let's predict this Chelsea starting 11 to face Tottenham Hotspur tomorrow night in the Premier League. Starting off in goal, we are going with Robert Sanchez, Chelsea's #1 goalkeeper. I do not want to see Jorgensen in between the sticks because, my God, that guy will give us a heart attack. Sanchez, I can't believe I'm saying this, is consistent. He's consistent. If he's not making silly mistakes. And they have really, really dried up. You have to give him flowers. They have dried up. The last one he had really was Man United. And that's kind of a freak scenario of, being caught out in terms of play. But in terms of goalkeeping mistakes, he's been fairly solid. Distribution long is fantastic. Short is always questionable. We know that. You know what you get with Sanchez. That he starts in goal for me. Hopefully he has a good game and does nothing stupid. Stays on the pitch. Because, again, I don't want to see Jorgensen in between the sticks. He was awful. Left back, we're going to go with Cucurella. Obviously, he did get some game time against Wolves, but he was rested for large spells of that game, which is nice. And, best left-back in the league, in my opinion. Some would say best left-back in the world, and I wouldn't argue with it. He was fantastic. Again, Mr. Consistent, so integral to Enzo Maresca's system. So, hopefully, he can have a very good game against Spurs and even get forward, because we know how much of an attacking threat he can be as well. Now, when it comes to the centre-back partnership, I'm going to say something that people may or may disagree with, and that's football. It's all opinions. That's why I love talking to you guys. But in my opinion, I want to see Hato and Asamoah. That is who I want to see as our centre-back partnership. Now, you may say, Jay, that's very, very young. They're 19 years old. And at this point, I don't care. I do not trust Chalobah and I do not trust Tosin at the moment. I really, really don't. Now, we could be playing Wesley Fofana. We could see Fofana and Asamoah. I'd be happy with that. But I would really interested to see a Hato-Asamoah partnership. Yes, they're young, but the talent and the sort of performances they're putting in are at a very consistent level. And when you look at the likes of Fofana, who can't really stay fit, yes, he plays okay when he plays, and a good run of games, he really builds up his performances and he plays very well, and he's one of our best defenders when he gets that run of games, which is so few and far between. Asamoah is our best defender, just period. He is our best defender. And Hato has played very well every time he's been playing. Minus the Wolves game, it wasn't as great, but it wasn't specifically him letting the team down. It was the whole defensive line, in my opinion. But he still played relatively well. And the games before that, he's played very, very well. I want to see Hato and Asamoah playing as a centre-back partnership because I'm very curious to know how well it would work. And I don't want to just write it off because, they're both 19. At some point, Maresca likes a rotation. He's going to play something like that. I'm hoping. Because if we see Tosin and Chalobah tomorrow, it is going to be a long day at the office. They cannot play together, in my opinion. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts regarding the centre-back partnership. Who would you play? Right back, we've got Mr. Reece James, Mr. Chelsea, our captain. He has to play, has to start. Fantastic. No real words for Reece James other than stay fit and keep doing you. When it comes to these holding midfield positions, we're going to go with Caicedo and Enzo. I feel like André Santos played very well against Wolves, showcased what he can do. Enzo was obviously rested, and I believe that partnership, I just love the Caicedo-Enzo partnership, because when we're dominating midfield, they are amazing. They really, really are, and I think that Enzo goes under the radar a little bit when we're dominating midfield, unless he's doing something like getting a goal, grabbing an assist, because he does a lot of leg work that I don't think people really pick up on. And Caicedo's just Caicedo, right? But those two together, I really, really like. I wouldn't be mad if André Santos starts, because I think that he is knocking on the door, especially in someone who's very much like for like with Enzo. And we might see Enzo coming on in the second half if Maresca says he's fit, but he's not fully 100% needs to start fit. Maybe. But I'd be happy with Caicedo-Enzo partnership, I'm not going to lie. When it comes to the left wing, I've said this earlier in the video, I need Gittens. I need Gittens on that left-hand side after that Wolves performance. Keep him riding the high of confidence. 2 assists and an absolute worldie of a goal. Get him on the pitch, because he is going to be frothing at the mouth trying to take on his fullbacks and continue that run of performance. When it comes to the number 10, this is where, I said earlier in the video, where you can have a bit of variety. Do we play Esteval in the 10? Young and exciting player who everyone wants to see more of, and he's just the type of player to break down low blocks from the get-go. Do you play João Pedro? Because if you play Esteval there, you put João Pedro in the 9, and Mark Guiu's on the bench. If you play João Pedro in the 10, you play Guiu in the 9, or Tyreek George, because Enzo Maresca seems to do that as well. And to be fair, Tyreek George has got like 4 goals in the last 8 games or something like that. He's actually converting relatively well. And then you have Esteval on the bench. Or do you bench Pedro Neto and start Esteval on the right, João Pedro in the 10, and Mark Guiu in the 9? This is the hard bit, because it's kind of what I am predicting would happen, but know how Maresca rotates so heavily. Usually you kind of go, yeah, this kind of makes sense. We rotated heavily midweek. Don't think the centre-back partnership will be what I want it to be, but you never know. And when it comes to these 3 positions, again, I want Esteval to start. I want João Pedro playing. I want Mark Guiu playing. So we're going to go with that. We're going to go João Pedro in the 10. João Pedro in the 10 because he's fit. Why not? If he's ready to play, get him in there. We know that's his best position when he drops deep. His link-up play, again, another player that can break down that low block. On the right-hand side, I love Pedro Neto. I really, really do. And Enzo is more than likely going to pick him for the experience. But I want to see Esteval starting because he's just so good. Esteval. Now, as you guys know, online at Builder, he isn't here for some reason, so we have the German goalkeeper, Esteval, as a placeholder. The Esteval on the right-hand side, and then I want to see Mark Guiu up front. Now, again, there is an argument for Tyreek George to start, depending on how Enzo Maresca wants to set up against Spurs, but that is who I would have as my starting 11. I think it's very, very strong in terms of the fullbacks. Obviously, Sanchez is miles better than Jorgensen. The partnership in the CDM, I think, midfield 3, I think is very, very strong. Gittens is high on form. Esteval, again, a creative player from the get-go that can really cause trouble against Spurs. And then if either Gittens or Esteval are struggling, you can always bring on Pedro Neto because you know what you're going to get with him. And and the same with Alejandro Garnacho. You know what you're going to get with them. They're very similar players, very pacey, knock and run, head down, cross the ball in, cutbacks. So I feel like we've got a bit of dynamism there if one side isn't working over the other. And then Mark Guiu, just giving him game time because we've got him. And Enzo Maresca says he's fresh starting and ready to play. So play him, in my opinion. So yeah, that's my predicted starting 11 to face Tottenham. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you agree with this lineup? Do you disagree? Who would you be playing in different positions? And that's the latest Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one. And I mean that, you're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.